All right, well, if you're thinking about moving to Chicago in 2024, well, you may want to reconsider after watching this video. So today we're gonna be talking about some of the reasons why you may wanna think twice about moving to Chicago. So before you move here, you're gonna wanna watch this video. All right, so even though I love living in Chicago, there's a lot of reasons why somebody may not like to live here. And so this video, we're gonna be diving into 5 or 6 different reasons. They're by no means all of the reasons, but some of the top reasons why a lot of people tell me they would never live in Chicago. So before you decide to pack up your bags, pack up your family, and drive across the country, well, you're gonna wanna watch this video just to make sure that Chicago is actually the place to call home. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Jordan Pyle and I'm your go-to Chicago real estate agent. And my team and I have been servicing the city of Chicago for the last 10 years and we'd be absolutely honored to help you with your real estate goals. We get calls, texts, and emails every single day lately from people just like you thinking about moving here to the Windy City. So if you have any questions about moving here, whether it's in 2 months or it's in 12 months, well, we'd love to hop on a phone call with you and just explore what you are looking to accomplish and how we can maybe assist. So just feel free to text the number on the screen and a team member or myself will get in touch within 24 hours. So before you go, be sure to check out all the amazing neighborhood guides down in the description, as well as our property search platform on my Compass website for you to look at all things Chicago real estate. And lastly, if this has been valuable to you today, please do us a favor, share it with a friend, like, comment, subscribe, and be sure to turn on all your notifications so you can catch all of our future videos. All right, let's get into it. The first reason you may want to reconsider moving to Chicago is if you are looking for that small city community feel. Even though Chicago is the 3rd largest metropolitan city in the country behind New York and LA, we have almost 2.7 million people in the city of Chicago and almost 9 million people in the surrounding suburbs. So if you're looking for that really boutique, small town feel, well, Chicago, you just know you're not signing up for that, right? And even though we have so many people, what I will say on the flip side of this is I can't tell you how many times in the last 10 years I've just said to myself, like, what a small world. Whether I run into a friend from back home on the street in Chicago, or maybe I throw out a name to somebody that I meet that knows a college buddy of mine that I went to school with in Indiana, it just always feels like it's a super small and connected city, even though it's not. And like I said, we are the 3rd largest city in the country. So if you're really looking for that small, quaint feel, well, you're probably not gonna be moving to Chicago anyway. So this is a pretty obvious one, but this is one of the main reasons you may wanna reconsider a different city. And as you can see on the screen right now, this is the top 10 list of the biggest metropolitan cities in the country. You have New York City, number 1, with almost 19 million people, which is absolutely insane. Los Angeles at 12.5 million, Chicago coming in just under 9 million, Houston, Dallas-Fort Worth, Miami, Atlanta, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., and then Phoenix coming in at number 10. All right, so the second reason you may want to reconsider moving to Chicago is if you love warm weather year around. I mean, this is obvious. Anytime you think about Chicago, people are always complaining about the cold winters, and that is true, right? Even though I say that the spring months of the year and the summer months are some of the most incredible in the entire country. Honestly, I think summer in Chicago is the best city in the entire country, if not the world. But you're gonna have to basically bear your way through the winter, bear your way through some of the other seasons in order to get all the glory of what is spring and summer here in Chicago. So I just popped up a graphic on the screen, which is kind of a running joke here in Chicago, but it says that Chicago actually has 12 seasons, and this is very real. So as you look at from the top down, you have winter, then you have full spring, where basically it feels like you're coming out of winter, but then the next thing you know, there's snow on the ground, it's sub-zero again. Then you move into the second winter, which is what I just described. Spring of deception, which is basically when you actually are in the spring months, but you're still getting cold weather. Then you have your third winter, which is basically when everybody hates themselves. And this is really the thick of when, if you can make it through this part of the season, well, you just know you're so close to seeing daylight on the other side. Next is the pollinating. Then you have actual spring. Then you have the summer, then you have Hell's Front Porch, which is like August timeframe, late July, where it just gets scorching hot in the city. Obviously, we have a bunch of concrete. And so if you want to seek basically some more wind and just a little bit more of a cool temperature, well, you're gonna wanna spend more time on the east side of the city close to Lake Michigan, because if you're downtown in the center, well, it's a very humid climate here. So during the thick of the summer, well, just be prepared and don't believe anything that says that Chicago does not get scorching hot, because it does. This is also the time where a lot of people go out on their boats on Lake Michigan. And there's a lot of cool things you can do and spend time on the lake or by the lake so that you can actually take advantage and enjoy those hot summer months. After we move through that, we have our false fall, which basically it gets really cold at the tail end of the summer. Then we have our second summer where it heats up again, and then we have our actual fall, and then we go straight into the winter. And so that's kind of the joke, the running joke here in Chicago is we have 12 different seasons. Once you live here for a couple of years, you're gonna know exactly what we're talking about. So the first season we'll talk about is spring. So it's, during the spring months, you're gonna have flowers in bloom, you're gonna have warming weather, and just a lot of buzzing activity. As soon as it hits about 55 degrees after coming through the winter, well, you're gonna start seeing people walking around with short sleeves on and shorts, because the contrast between what it was versus what it is, people just start to really take advantage of it. So you're gonna start to see the city get more active, a lot more people walking around, riding bikes, running on the lakefront, and various other outdoor activities. Temperatures in April typically range in the 50s, while May can reach up to around 70 degrees. And then you have rainfall averages around 3.5 to 3.8 inches during the spring months. In the summer, the city is absolutely alive 24/7. I talked about this earlier in the video. It's the most incredible city during the summer. So if you're thinking about visiting here, well, you're gonna wanna definitely come during the winter before you actually move here, but you're also gonna wanna come during the summer so that you can kind of see the beauty of the summer as well as maybe the harshness of the winter. Summer is rooftop and patio season, beer gardens, going out with your friends and checking out different rooftops around the city. Like I said, hitting the beach for a beach day, going swimming in Lake Michigan. There's a lot of different street festivals and concerts. Lollapalooza, one of the biggest musical festivals in the world, is also during the summer, which is usually the first weekend in August. And then one of my favorite things in the summer is the Air and Water Show. It usually falls somewhere around my birthday, which is mid-August. And this is where the planes come out. It's a trick plane show. Tons of people, I think a couple million people, flock to the lakeside and watch the planes do their thing. This is something every single year that I look forward to. So if you're visiting Chicago during mid-August and you hear some loud noises and planes ripping through the air above you, well, just know they're training for the Air and Water Show, which typically happens over that Saturday and Sunday on the first weekend of August. So summers in Chicago can get anywhere from 78 degrees Fahrenheit to 92 degrees Fahrenheit, but with the humidity level, you are going to feel much hotter than 92 degrees. All right, so next up is fall in Chicago. And fall, in my opinion, is the second favorite season in Chicago for me. And this is like jeans and sweatshirt weather. This is pumpkin spice weather. I don't do the pumpkin spice game, but I know that's all the rave these days. But this is the time where football's in season, and there's just a lot of fun things to do, to go hang out at a different bar with your friends, or just go on a nice brisk walk on the lakefront. Fall is an incredible season. Just know it's going to only last a little while, and next thing you know, we're going to be in the dead of winter. Average temperatures in the fall range around 70 degrees Fahrenheit and gradually drop into the mid 40s closer to the winter. Rainfall is about 2.7 to 3.3 inches. Now lastly, winter, we all talked about this before. You already know what you're signing up for if you're moving to Chicago. You're gonna have to bear the winter. With the winter though, comes picturesque snow, it comes the holiday season, magical light displays, and unique holiday traditions. The average annual snowfall is approximately 37 inches, and the average daily highs are around 30 to 38 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, the third reason why you may want to reconsider moving to Chicago is if you love paying low taxes. So Chicago, as you've probably heard before, is a very high tax state. Everywhere from sales tax to income tax to property taxes, where you're just going to want to crunch these numbers and make sure that it fits into your budget and your lifestyle. On the flip side of the coin, I just had a couple in from California that actually found me on this YouTube channel. They're moving to Chicago for their retirement. And one of the main reasons they're moving here is because Chicago doesn't tax pension distributions, IRAs, 401ks, or government retirement plans. Back to some of the high taxes that you may want to make sure that you're taking into consideration are, first up, property taxes. At 2.08%, the average property tax rate in Illinois is the second highest in the country according to the Tax Foundation. Property taxes vary by municipality, but in Northeast Illinois, including Chicago, this has significantly higher property taxes than the rest of the state. Also, with that being said, there are a few ways where you can lower your property tax bill. So most homeowners qualify for a general homestead exemption, which lowers your home's equalized assessed value or its partial value used when calculating your property taxes. Other exemptions include the Senior Citizens Homestead Exemption, and you can find more information on this anywhere online. Just Google it. Next up, you have sales tax. Consumer goods and services are taxed at 6.25% statewide. Municipalities also may levy a local sales tax, which can be no more than 4.75%. The average combined sales tax rate in Illinois is 8.82%, according to the Tax Foundation. In Chicago, the combined sales tax is 10.25%. Next up, you have grocery taxes. Groceries, medicine, and hygiene products are taxed at 1% in Chicago. Gas and diesel, Illinois residents pay state sales tax 6.25%, in addition to a motor fuel tax on gas and diesel. The gas tax increased from 42.3 cents per gallon to 45.4 cents per gallon in July 2023 because of inflation. To round this out, just think you're gonna pay for other things such as alcohol and your lottery taxes. So the fourth reason reason you may want to reconsider moving to Chicago is if you are not a sports fan. And as I've mentioned before, Chicago has basically 5 main sports teams or professional sports teams, being the Chicago Bears, the Chicago Bulls, the Chicago Blackhawks, the Chicago Cubs, and the Chicago White Sox. So I feel like at any time of the year, any day of the week, you basically have a sports team that you can root for. And so a lot of Chicago's social events are kind of catered around our sports teams. And so you're going to find some diehard Chicago sports teams and fans all around the city. So not that you necessarily have to adopt sports teams. You go, I'm a sports guy, but I'm not like a sports fanatic. You know, you're not gonna find me watching hours and hours of football on a Sunday. It's just not my thing. So if you are moving here, you don't like sports, it's completely fine. You can get away without it. Just know there's a lot of diehard sports fans in the city of Chicago. Number 5 reason you may wanna reconsider moving here is if you love not having traffic on a daily basis on your commutes. As we've talked about before, I think it's actually on the very last video that I'm gonna link in the card above, Chicago is the #1 city in the country for the worst traffic. And this is not something we're proud about. However, it's the truth. And during the summer, you have construction. During the spring and fall, you have construction. During the winter, the streets are all lined with snow and ice and people just drive like idiots. And so if you're looking for a state or a city where you don't have to deal with traffic on a daily basis, well, Chicago is not gonna be the city for you. All right, so the number 6 reason and the final reason for today's video is if you are highly conservative, you may wanna reconsider moving to Chicago. And even though I believe that everyone can have their own opinions, you know, we can coexist in the world, whether you're more on the left side of the political spectrum or you're more on the right side, it is completely fine to be either. However, most of Chicago's political policies are far left side, or definitely more on the left side than on the right side. And so if you're very conservative, well, you may have a little bit of a hard time here living in Chicago. All right, so that wraps it up for today's video. These are some of the reasons you may want to reconsider, and you want to watch this video before you move here in 2024 so that you can make sure that your lifestyle is going to be fitting with Chicago, and that you can make sure that you make the right choice when it comes to such a big decision about moving to a new city. And so if this has been valuable to you today, please do us a favor, like, comment, and subscribe. And if we can help you move to Chicago or with your real estate goals in general here in Chicago, just text the number on the screen and a team member or myself will get in touch within 24 hours. Thank you so much. Take care and peace.